Well, that was the end of 2019. What a fun year that was. Got to do so many gigs. Now I look forward to seeing what I get to do in 2020. Well, what about you guys? What's the crack? How you all doing? Hope you're all keeping well today. Hope everything is good where you are. You know, it's mad to believe what all we've been through over the past couple of years. With a global pandemic, lockdowns, masks, sanitizing hands, hell, even short stock of bog roll. Do you remember when that all was happening? That was just crazy. I'm sure you're probably sitting going already, oh, here's a video about COVID and the pandemic and all the doom and gloom and yeah. This is why I've wanted to do this video, is because I wanted to be real with you guys, because the pandemic affected us on a global scale. And even though things are starting to get back to normal and the end is a little bit more in sight, we still have a long way to go. And especially for us as photographers, the pandemic really affected us. So I wanted to spend today's video not so much talking about the doom and gloom, because yes, I do want to cover those sorts of things, but I think it's right that we also talk about some of the good things that have also come out of the pandemic, especially for me. I wanted to share, like, you know, yes, what all had affected me as a photographer, but also wanted to talk about what all actually helped me as a photographer during lockdown and all, and where we can go forward from here. Because yes, it's fair to focus on, you know, all the bad that has come out of it, but I think we should also take time to think how the lockdown actually helped us as photographers and where we're going to go to next with things starting to become a little bit more normal. Before all this here started, I was on a high. 2019 was, well, at the first half of it was a great year for me, music photography wise. I was photographing the likes of Slash, Snow Patrol at Warwood Park, loads of different gigs. Started to slow down throughout the end of the year, and then some personal things started happening within my life that sort of started to affect me. And when I was entering into 2020, before everything was going on, I was sitting going to myself, okay, I might take a little break from the music photography type of things, because the personal stuff that was going on in my life was stressing me, making me anxious, depressed, and also I was thinking, look, I'm going to take a break, take a step back, and just, you know, do other things, reevaluate, maybe just relax from the photography a little bit. And I had originally said I was going to take this break maybe about the end of 2020. And then as time moved on, it was becoming, oh, I might take my break at the middle of 2020, and then everything happened. So I had my last gig in February 2020, and that was off the Who, not the My Generation Who, you know, the Mongolian Who. And it was great to end my music photography with everything that's been going on at that gig, because it was absolutely outstanding. Then the pandemic happened and lockdown started, and I was forced to have my break on the music photography. And I was like, okay, you know, I had planned to do this, and this has sort of helped me sort of come away. And that was a question all of us as photographers were asking ourselves, what do I do now? Because gig photographers couldn't go to gigs. Wedding photographers, well, couldn't do any wedding photography. Portrait photographers, I couldn't really go out and see anybody. For some of us, this was a time to sort of just chill, take a break, because, like, especially for me, as when I was a gig photographer, everything was just so fast paced, get everything out, fight for the photo passes and all, and that was what was really stressing me there. So to come away from that was quite nice. I don't know what it's like for you guys as like wedding photographers or anything, but I'm sure having that slower pace might have been quite nice. But at the same time, it's like, I'm losing income and I'm bored. But as the lockdown continued, we just had to accept this is life now. Just, we're gonna have to deal with it. And it was tough. I mean, I had got a new job, lost that job within a few months because they couldn't afford me. So I fell into more depression and anxiety with all of that. But along the way, throughout lockdown, I started to reevaluate my photography a lot more. So without having to do the gigs, I was like, right, what am I going to have to do now? I'm going to have to do something. I've got my camera gear lying here. I need to do something. So because we were allowed one walk a day of exercise, I just took the camera out, went about anywhere, and just started focusing more on landscape, out and about style of photography, and just sort of relaxing with the camera a little bit more. And this is what I started to enjoy. And when I started to relax with the camera a little bit more, I also had time to focus on doing the YouTube content. And again, always thankful you guys were coming and check this out. You know, I was doing my tutorials because in one of my oldest jobs, I was a photography tutor and I was really missing that. So I was like, okay, what do I do? I'll put up tutorials and tips and tricks, all those different things. Start pushing my YouTube channel a little bit more, and that helped get me a little bit of space, give me a little bit of a head shower mentally wise. So it was good to focus on other avenues. But I know a lot of other photographers were having to do the same because, yep, commercial, wedding and all, we couldn't get doing it. So what do we then do? Just go out and snap. Some of us didn't really want to go out and snap, and that's fine. Just let the camera relax for a little bit. Whereas it's like, okay, I'll just take the camera anywhere. And I think this was what really helped us as photographers, just to sort of relax from all the hustle and bustle that we were in before. Yeah, it was stressful and it was crap that we had to lose all that work, but it was good for all of us to relax and sort of focus on our photography a little bit more and what all we can actually do next. Because I know there was loads of photographers that ran like competitions on social media about taking photos of in and around your house. I know a lot of photographers that actually took up photography during the lockdown. It didn't have to be anything fancy, it didn't have to be a camera, just picking up their phone, going out and about, sharing. And because a lot more people were focused on social media and all now, it was a good chance for photographers to grow on there. So that was a great added benefit as to what the lockdown has done. And I know plenty of photographers that just started out last year and are now taking over Instagram and social media and all, getting their photo. And that's amazing to see. It's amazing to see that even though the lockdown sort of restricted us and brought us down, it was good to see that some seeds were planted and now some plants and trees are starting to grow with new photographers and even seasoned photographers starting to try something new, starting to relax a little bit more. That was what I loved to see coming from the pandemic, is just that the photography community was still striving. So with myself focusing on the YouTube content, doing reviews, tutorials, tips and tricks, landscape photography, I had got the Fujifilm, which we again still don't talk about that, so I don't, but it was a good little tryout. Got the Sony back, managed to get my Sony a7 III along the way, and then near enough the end of 2020 I got a new job, was getting new camera gear, was starting to pick up again and starting to find a little bit more of a new normality for me. I was still going out taking photographs at landscapes, so it was good focusing on something different. As things have started to slowly get back to normal, I've also been doing portrait photography again, so I've had a couple of models along the way, and I've had a couple of photo shoots. I missed doing the band photo shoots. I have to say I did do one after the first lockdown, but other than that I haven't really had anything band wise, so it'd be good to do that again. But photo shoot wise, I had missed photographing people, so I had a couple on there to see what all I had learned and what all I worked on, because I was also working on my editing style along the way. I just made projects for myself, and that was, you know, something I know a lot of photographers were doing, but it was something I was making myself do too, was just set projects for myself so that way I can, you know, fight my mental health, because that was one thing I really had to fight against during lockdown. And working on my editing style, taking different photographs while out and about, really changed my outlook. And see, since then I've just been, for once I've been happy about my photography, because I reached many rut points whenever I was working as a photographer where I was just fed up and I just couldn't do it anymore. Whereas even as I'm sitting here talking to you guys now, I feel so much more happier as a photographer than I ever have done in all the years that I have done this. So yes, I agree. The pandemic really affected us all, and it affected us as photographers. And I'm sure for a lot of you guys out there, you're still not back to normal, or the new normal as it's going to be called. Again, this is why I wanted to share this video, is because that even though there was all this bad stuff going on, there was still a lot of good things coming out of the photographic community that just goes a little bit unrecognized. So try not to let this pandemic, affect you too much, because the end is starting to become in sight now, and the new normal is starting to come into effect. Yeah, we still have a long way to go, but we're seeing more and more signs that the end is in sight. So going forward, what can we as the photographic community do? Well, we should just all look out for each other. I mean, during the lockdown, I was talking to a lot more photographers that I hadn't talked to before, so keeping in contact with each other, building up a rapport, building up that community with lots of other photographers out there is what helps us mentally and also socially, because now we can go out and about, we can hang out. I mean, I had recently I went on a photo walk that was organised in Belfast, where there was a lot of photographers organised, and it was great being out, talking to people, saying hi, sharing photos, sharing Instagrams and all. So keeping in contact, staying with each other, and just looking out for each other, continuing to do that, making new friends, rekindling with old friends, sharing ideas, keeping that going is what we can do to help get us out of this rut that the pandemic has left on us. The one thing we can also do with things starting to become more normal is come back stronger than ever. I'm sure there's many of you that are sitting going, oh, I have my first wedding come up, I haven't photographed a wedding in so long, I'm so nervous. Well, this is your time to shine once again. You now have room to get your name out there again, because yes, you haven't been able to do anything for so long, but this is now a chance to help push your name out there again, because people have focused on social media a lot more now. So this is a chance to really get your name out there. So, well, any weddings that you do, whether it's big or small, or if it's just a couple of people or anything, this is a chance to just say, hey, this is me, this is what I do. If you got anything coming up, certainly I would love to photograph that. And I know there's plenty of wedding photographers out there that are starting to get work again, so it's continuing to push your name. We have a chance to get ourselves out there again. And plus, we also now have a chance to still sit and go, okay, this is what I did during the pandemic to help me. Maybe I might continue with that on, because I personally, yes, I miss the gigs, but to be honest, I'd be happy not doing a gig for quite a long time. I'm still happy with where I'm at. If I do a gig soon, happy days. If I don't, it doesn't really bother me. Yeah, even though we had all the doom and gloom, there was a lot of great things. And there's some great things for all of us, with everything starting to become normal again. And this is why, again, I wanted to do this video, just to help you guys out, just be real with you guys, because I would love to know with where you've been at during this whole time. What have you been doing? Where do you see yourself after all this? Well, please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know some of your thoughts. If this video has spoken to you at all, I would love to hear from you guys. And of course, if you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, hit the wee bell icon so you can stay up to date with future videos. But until then, folks, please do continue to take care of yourselves and enjoy the rest of your day.